of this tournament. Uh,
The name is at the end, but ayo.
it's been.
It's been.
It's just so satisfying to say. But yeah, so we are gonna go ahead and just kick off this match right away. While we're kind of getting over to the uncle, is there any kind of items you want to see him give out, or anything you don't want
Uncle,
to see him?
I don't want to see him give a sword.
That's true. Sword is pretty uncommon to actually show up.
Yeah, I want to see Uncle give bombs. I always like watching bomb strats when you don't have any other weapons to use, just bombs.
Bomb strats are pretty neat. I enjoy being able to see that. Plus, really helps not having to look for those bombs on the way to the back of escape.
And
But
it's
we're gonna go with Fire Rod.
well,
Definitely,
a little better than bombs.
just a little bit.
Not very much, but it's kind of better.
I'd say if we're looking on the spectrum of most difficult weapons to easiest weapons, Fire Rod and bombs are on completely different sides, since Fire Rod just one-shots every enemy that it touches, so makes it very easy to get through, but still, you gotta find those bombs at some point.
Better than Blue Cane.
Oh, yeah. Blue Cade is definitely my least favorite weapon to find in the escape sequence, but regardless, we got a tunic early on. That's pretty nice. Not going to have to worry too much about playing safe to take a little bit more risk in these early parts of the game. Vin is actually looking to find those bombs pretty early, while Zheal just rushes all the way to Zelda, possibly to find bombs in a chest instead.
Well, they should be lifting as many things as they can because if they're not killing all the enemies, they don't know what the item pool contains. And if bombs are in the item pool and they're not finding an enemy that has bombs, then they are not going to find those bombs.
Right. It's definitely kind of has that random element to it. You're never sure if there's bombs going to be showing up at some point, but Zil could also be waiting to go down to the sewer where there's just a lot of enemies tightly packed to start doing his bomb farm.
Yeah, but
we'll
when you
see.
have pots right there, it's not costing you any ammunition, so why not just check if the enemy has bombs?
There's that fire rod showing off just how strong it is, taking out that ball and chain guard with just one hit. Just get out of here. Give me that big key. We gotta rescue Zelda. Get out of here. Meanwhile, Vin looks like he's going for that pot strat instead. Really committed to looking for those bombs to the point of saving some fire rod shots for the sewer, it appears. So he'll be using those pots to take out the guard instead.
An interesting thing to note is that a patch in the randomizer made it that you don't need to restart your seed in order to refill your ammunition.
That is true. The developers fortunately put in a few safeguards so that way some of the newer players, don't get locked out by, running out of bombs, arrows, magic, things like that. So it's fortunate that they do have that to fall back on.
It could also be useful because if they would have saved and quit at Zelda, then they would have gotten a magic refill.
True. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time to do that. Plus, there are some small magic pots in the sewer, so Zheal and Ben may not be thinking like, I need to spend that much time to get that magic refill.
If they had Burna, I'm sure they'd be doing that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Give me all the magic you can find. Verna just loves to eat up your magic bar.
So that's a strat we are not going to be seeing this race, but we're probably going to be seeing it in many other races in the tournament because a lot of races have burner. We do have 256 races a week.
True. Lots of matches for the next 7 weeks, so you're gonna see just about anything that could happen in a rando race, to be honest. Um, but it looks like Zheal is opting not to even look for any bombs whatsoever. Kind of a risky play with those 3 items in the back of Escape. The reason for that is, if there ends up being something like the power gloves back there, he's going to have to go through the entirety of the sewer again just to get back there. So, kind of a risky play that Vin is still searching for bombs for. So, we'll see hopefully shortly if there is actually anything back there that's worth skipping.
From what we've seen, it's possible that bombs aren't in the drop pool, and it's the lamp in Sanctuary.
Yeah, definitely lamp. I mean, it's nice to get that early, not gonna have to worry about any dark rooms. Did get that quick map check. Looks like we had a Desert Palace pendant, red pendant actually. And a 6 crystal on Tower of Hera. I did not see what Eastern was, but I believe it was another crystal too. Alright, so neither player finding any bombs throughout their escape sequence. So what's back there? We may never know. But there we go. Got the 8 bomb drops from the bush crab. If only he showed up a little bit earlier, that would have been a very welcome sight for both our runners. So we'll have to wait for a while to see, what's in the back of Escape. But at the very least, he'll have plenty of bombs for Kakariko.
I'm sure our runners don't want to know what's in the back of Escape.
I mean, as long as it's not a power glove, then that's a good thing because you can literally check it at any point. But if it ends up being a power glove, then that's gonna probably keep them, running around in circles for quite a while. Meanwhile, both runners are opting to do the same routes, check the tree game, which had the red rupees. Vin's gonna get his bombs from the bush crab, and then also that bottle showing up in the Lost Woods means that they can go ahead and talk to the sick kid and just knock out that item right away.
And since they have bombs, they can clear out Kakariko.
So lamp this early actually has some interesting implications. It could show, a trip up to Death Mountain if the gloves get found pretty early on. It could also suggest if we find, a couple swords or a cape that Aghanim is required, which is pretty common to happen in this logic. So Kakariko should show us a little bit of how the seed is going to go early on, and then see how each runner decides to react to the items they find.
Well, so far we found literally nothing in Blind Hideout. What's in the back? Nothing.
It's a lot of upgrades, that's it.
There's a lot of nothing.
Typical blind, probably didn't even know what he was putting in the treasure chest. It's like, I'm just gonna grab some junk off the floor, I'll throw it in here. Hopefully no one comes in and tries to steal my junk.
What's in the well? Is it nothing?
I hope not. This has a good amount of items here too, but Kakariko definitely not showing up just yet. More upgrades. Wow.
Whole lot of nothing. We found
So-
hearts, arrows, bombs, rupees, but nothing important.
Oh, there's our power glove. Okay, so we got something. At least to, force progression. Definitely power glove, does give the indication that we want to probably head up to Death Mountain at some point. With that lantern as well. Whether or not they do that immediately or maybe after some of your other early game checks has yet to be determined.
Good old chicken in the wall.
I love it. Just throw it in right as the bomb's going off. See ya, chicken.
So kid's got a bomb upgrade, so far there's nothing here except gloves.
Really curious how many bombs or what bomb capacity we're actually up to at this point, given how many we've found. Probably
I'm gonna
around
guess 25 or 30.
25 to 30. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. All right, Zheal heading down to finish his last 2 checks at the Kakariko village. The library, which just has the 300 rupees, could be useful later on. And then
Could
the
be our
race
Zora
cave
money.
as well. Yeah, we could use that for the Zora. It's definitely
But
a logic at this point.
since we have glove, we already do have access to Zora money without question because we do have the farm spot in desert.
True. It does take a long time to actually farm that, because it doesn't give you a lot of money. But
I know, but I see
Zheal,
that it's required.
Zheal definitely doing the thing I would expect him to do, which is going right to the back of Escape now that you have the bombs and the gloves. It's a location that's there. It's very easy to get to. Plus, it's 3 items. Whether or not it's 3 items we need, that is
Oh
not.
my god, it's nothing.
Well, they're going to be very healthy this seed with the blue tunic and the Mount of Hearts showing up.
Yeah, so far all they've found other than the glove, the powder, and the fire rod is capacity upgrades.
They're going for the the end game right now. You know, get all the bomb and arrow upgrades you can possibly get. So when we get into Ganon's Tower, we pretty much have 99 bombs and 99 arrows, I imagine.
That could work, except the most arrows you can have is 70.
They're gonna find a way to break it. But
I'll take your word.
Zheal doing the dam. Vin also opting to go over to the back of Escape as well. Get that knocked out of the way.
Gonna get his little bit of disappointment.
He'll still pick it up though. It's, you know, if he ends up wanting to go over to the Zora, then you know it would be good just to have any amount of money you could possibly get. Zheal heading into the mini Moldorm cave and probably make quick work of these mini Moldorms using these bombs. It's the double. Finishes off the last one. Alright, so despite there being 5 chests and mini Moldorm cave, still nothing to show progression. Yeah, they do have Death Mountain currently available to them, but it's only 2 items that they can actually get from there at this point, which really isn't a lot to kind of push you ahead in a seed. So I wonder if before they go up to Death Mountain, if they'll actually opt to go over to Sahasrara and Eastern Palace for just the more items showing up in that area. Zheal going over to Ice Rod Cave. Good choice to go to early on. It's so far out of the way that you don't want to have to skip it and then find out that, you know, there is something important here. But it's just 10 arrows. Vin finish up his mini Moldorm Cave too. And yeah, just as I thought, Zheal gonna head over to Eastern area first. Hopefully to find maybe a hook shot, something to kind of give him a little more access to items on Death Mountain. Definitely a smart play, in my opinion. Well, there's that Zora money. Didn't see that last item. Okay, just a blue rupee. So has a lot of money here. Could also opt to go into the rupee room in Eastern Palace if he wants to grab a little bit more.
Did we get a
Definitely is
green
within
pendant
logic.
check?
He did not talk to Sahashala, so we do not know what the green pendant is just yet.
Oh boy.
Then looks like he went over to Sanctuary, but decided to come over to Eastern area first. Probably also thinking like, hey, you know, I want to find, you know, a mirror, hook shot, something to get me more through Death Mountain before I commit, you know, to the time it takes to get up there. So far, nothing though. We still have a good number of chests in Eastern Palace, so there could be that one progression item that they need to move up a little bit further in the seed. Early big key, definitely a great find for Eastern Palace. Guarantee that, you know, we can check that big chest before having to go through the dark room. And, you know, sometimes there could be something in there that, you know, lets you just go ahead and continue on with the seed and not have to do the remainder of Eastern.
But has Zheal found both of the items that are in Eastern?
So far, he has found one item, and that is the Titan Myth. What an item to actually find. So we are one item away from that Dark World access, looking for that Moon Pearl. Well, being able to travel around the Dark World, that is. I don't see what item he picked up there. And there it is, the Moon Pearl!
It was the Moon Pearl. Speak of the
Zheal
devil.
likes to like lag as soon as he picks up an item, so I have to wait for it on the restream. But yeah, there you go. There's the entirety of, or the most of the map right there. But Zheal making the smart play to just go ahead and check this last chest, just in case, you know, maybe it has, you know, something here to, you know, also be considered towards progression. Ooh, that's a sword? All right, so Eastern definitely the place to go. We got a sword, we got Moon Pearl, and gloves. 3 items, all with a lot of worth for our runners. So definitely both of them making the right play to come over here immediately. Zeal's like, you know what? You know, Death Mountain is still available, but you know, we got Dark World access. We have a ton of items, you know, over there. We're gonna head over to Kakariko Village and go straight into the village of Outcasts. All right, so we got that check. We got Green Pendant on Thieves Town, Red Crystal in the Misery Mire, and a Pendant Ice Palace. Wow. Ice Palace and Thieves Town, 2 dungeons you don't really want to see be a pendant. Given just the amount of time it kind of takes to go through them. But Zeal's like, hey, I got this fire rod. that we got from our uncle, Skullwoods is, needed. I got a sword to cut the vines. Let's go kill Mothula.
The bow.
And get the bow. Wow.
Well, this isn't such a bad seed yet, but only time will tell.
Well, what is this, like V26 or something? Are dungeons actually relevant at this point? Like with how many progression items we found in dungeons so far? Feels like I'm playing rando from like 6 months ago.
You could always be playing V18.
Ugh. We don't talk about that.
I actually have some V18 seeds archived, but we're not going to go into that.
Because we are in V29,
Yeah,
where
V29 is great.
Vin also making the same choices. So despite both runners kind of being in different spots, they're doing the same exact route. Zheal just doing it a little bit quicker, obviously at this point. But we'll see if Vin decides to go maybe to Village of Outcasts first before heading into Skullwoods. Definitely having only the fighter sword, and not like half magic or anything to deal with Mothula could be a little bit of a way to deter you going from there early. But both runners are better than I am apparently, and they're gonna go straight into Skullwoods. Zheal did not pick up the magic refill though. I don't know if he realizes he needs to have some magic to actually use a fire rod for this spot. I don't see what was in his sword, or what was in his bottle. Yeah, it was just a fairy. But there is a magic refill next to that chest that had the small key. Using a bomb, a very useful place to have it, especially going to the entrance of the last section of Skullwoods. Don't get touched. Okay.
Nobody likes Wallmaster.
Yeah, and his hitbox is a little bit funky too. He likes to sometimes grab you when you're not exactly inside of him.
That is never a good thing because Wallmaster can kill some good runs. You get grabbed by a Wallmaster, you could lose 1 or 2 minutes in certain places, and that's no good.
Alright, so making his way through the last part of Skullwoods. It's gonna be a little bit of a hard fight for him, especially not having a lot of magic and just having that fighter sword. Um, it definitely takes a whole lot of time to be able to do enough damage to kill Mothula. And he's not gonna have that magic to use the fire rod instead. But it is doable, and technically it is within the logic at this point. So it could be worth that investment to kill him and find something like hook shot here instead of waiting until later.
Interesting thing to note that, other than blind, Mothula is the only Dark World boss that's able to be hit by a fighter sword slash.
That is true. Despite not doing a lot of damage to him, definitely you're still able to do it. It takes a lot of time. But Zheal making pretty good work of him so far. It does have the fairy just in case things go a little bit hairy for him. But I don't think he will have any issue actually finishing off Mothula at this point.
Oh no! He's got a fairy.
Vin doesn't look like he forgot the fire or the magic pot that Zheal had to go back. So definitely closing the gap a little bit with that slight mistake on Zeal's end. There we go. See, pretty easy kill. He had really good positioning. Gets rewarded with the big key, so we don't know just yet if there is, something there waiting in that chest for him.
Well, there is still one chest in Skullwoods.
There is. And got the one you have to walk all the way around for, and that big key chest. Not either ones you want to do without the mirror.
But either one of them are indeed one that contains an item.
Yep. Sometimes you just gotta, bite the bullet, take the time to get to them. Looks like that one was a bit of a bust, just having that small key that obviously we don't need at this point. But
That's a small key to the trap room. It doesn't do anything anymore.
yeah, just kind of given how the dungeon layout is in Randomizer, obviously you don't need to get that small key at all. Well, Vin
You could
taking a
hack the
bunch of
ROM to make
hits.
it necessary, but that'd be stupid.
Vin also taking advantage of that fairy. Definitely definitely a good fight to use it for, just given the how much time it will take to kill Mothra. But he's gotta be careful, and oh no he doesn't, because he just gets his kill right there. Alright, Zheal setting up for his bomb jump, nails it, and we get a whole lot of money for our efforts, a whole 20 rupees. So at least they get the crystal from Skullwoods. I'm sure they'll be thankful and not have to be, thinking about this dungeon in the future. But as far as items go, oh, we did get the bow. I forgot about that. That was actually the very
Now
first
realize
item,
we
so
just saw a mandatory Eastern Palace double dip.
that is true. Having to get the the sword mitts and the pearl from Eastern.
And go
Definitely,
back, get the bow from Skullwoods, and go back to Eastern to finish it.
I'll tell you what, I'd rather double dip Eastern Palace than having to double dip Turtle Rock, like having to go all the way to Laser Bridge or something like that. So,
You could quintuple dip Turtle Rock.
right. But I don't think we'll have that at this point. We got a fire rod, so definitely kind of rules
We
out
already
the
have
number of
Fire
times.
Rod and Lamp. That makes 2 of the dips impossible already. The first dip would be Samaria to fetch quest. Second dip, you now have Fire Rod to fetch quest. Then you need to go back. Now your next item is going to be the mirror from Mimic Cave. Mirror, then fetch quest. Then, after that, the fetch quest leads to the lamp, dark room, fetch quest, and then Ice Rod to Trinix.
And it's very rare for that to happen, but when it does, it's not fun. Zheal clearing out Village of Outcasts, heading into Pendant Thieves Town. Definitely a good choice. I've seen that it's usually a safe play to just go ahead and knock out Thieves Town right off the bat, despite it being a pendant dungeon, just because it does have a good amount of items. It's a pretty fast dungeon. The only kind of thing that could go wrong is if there is an item in the big chests and they don't find the hammer in here. But we'll see if there's any kind of progression in here. Hopefully a flute, hopefully a mirror. Those are usually the items you start to see show up around this time. That would make, their routing a little bit more simpler after this dungeon. or we could find VTorque instead, which is always pleasant. But ooh, okay. So we have 3 items found, I believe. I don't know if we found a map and the big key, or if it was another item in the big key. But it is a green pendant as well, so it does give that extra item at Sahasrahla, should they go that far into the dungeon, which it looks like Zheal is going to do. Vin, finishing his Village of Outcast checks, going to the Sea House. Not going to really find anything here either. And then I wonder, does he go into Thieves Town as well, or maybe just continues his Dark World tour, which looks like what he is doing. Zingo, oh, don't grab him yet. Okay, good. Don't want to grab that frog before you head over to the dig game, otherwise you get locked out of it.
Can't you
But,
take me someplace nice?
Oh, here's the dig game. It's pretty nice here.
The funniest thing is when the purple chest asks if who can take it someplace nice. It's one thing when Jeremiah says it, it's another when you're talking to a purple chest.
Hey, in the world of Zelda, talking purple chest may not necessarily be, all that uncommon. I don't know. I haven't done much, look into like, the fan theories and all that, but
It's possible. Just a big 20 in blind cell.
and I said, I don't know if that first item he picked up was, a dungeon item or a key item. I think regardless though, Zeal's going to go ahead and just clear this dungeon out just to go ahead and get that green pendant for Sahasrahla, just on the off chance that there is something there. So really can't tell who is ahead at this point. Both runners kind of opting to do slightly different routes. Zeal doing pendant Thieves Town, I've been skipping it. But no one has found that progression yet. So if Zeal gets something off like the green pendant, then that will be pretty big for him. But if he doesn't, then I would say Vin is in a really good spot right now.
What a clean blind fight. Cane of
Ooh,
Samaria.
that's-
We just found Cane of Samaria in Hype Cave.
And silvers, but more importantly, we got ether off of blind, and with both Mire and Turtle Rock being required, then that could be kind of scary if either of them require ether. Zeal will obviously head over to the remainder of his Dark World checks as well. Then gonna bring back the breadsmith to his home, see if we can get something off that. So right now we don't know just yet, like I said, who is ahead. But if that ether does come into play later, who knows how long it will be before Vin decides to come back to Thieves Town.
I'm sure they want the hammer right about now.
Yeah, if I was in their position, I'd be looking for either hammer, hook shot, or a mirror to get that dark Death Mountain access, or just even to do more in Death Mountain, to be honest. Because right now they're still pretty limited to the locations they can go to. One nice part though is that they are locked to this side of the Dark World. Pod is not in logic as of yet, since they don't have the hammer, the flippers, or the hook shot to get over to that side. So their locations are kind of limited for now. Vin looks like going to go ahead and get the purple chest. Very long time it takes to get this all done without the mirror or the flute. Given you have to save and quit twice. But, oh, actually, no, he's going to go ahead into Thief's Town instead of finishing up that quest. So he'll find his ether if he decides to do all this. Okay, so that first chest was just the compass. I did not see that the first time. Alright, Zheal picking up his silvers and his cane of Samaria as well. Both not offering any other locations to go to just yet. But I think pretty soon we'll see the flute to give that access to the Mire area and kind of make that cane of Samaria come a little bit into the logic as well.
So far, they still don't really have many options on where to go. They can clear out Eastern and get a crystal, but it's not progression right now because they already got all the items in Eastern.
Yeah, it'll be nice obviously to get that crystal done, but there's nothing you can get out of it. But they may want to look into going over there regardless because Zheal does have that green pendant, and that is another location to go to. Which I think he okay, no, he's not. He's actually gonna go over to Death Mountain now. But that is something to also check once you do go back over to Eastern.
An interesting thing to note is that they really don't have access to dungeons right now. The only dungeons they have access to are the ones they've already cleared.
Yeah. So really, we're running out of locations very fast. We have essentially, we have the Old Man right here, Spectacle Rock, the Green Pendant, Turn-In, and Agina's Cave and Zora as well.
Spectacle Rock
locations.
Cave, not Spectacle Rock. We don't have the mirror.
Right. Well, that's what I meant. It's still, you can get up there. You can see what's on the Spectacle Rock, but the
Yes,
cave
that
underneath it is within logic. All right, so on Spectacle Rock, we just have another capacity upgrade. But inside the cave, we have just the big 20 right there. So, I imagine we'll probably be seeing that dip over to Eastern to get that green pendant Turn-In. And if that doesn't lead to anything, then it's up between Zora and Agina.
We do have Zora access, that is true. They may sequence break to get the other items over there, but logically the only item that they can get there currently is Zora.
That's true. Even if those items are not in logic, it's definitely a good idea to just go ahead and get them out of the way, so you don't have to worry about that trip, later on. And yeah, just a piece of heart from Uncle or Sahasrahla. So that means it's either Agina or Zora.
Yeah. One thing about sequence breaks is that although you'd rather not use an item you got from a sequence break, if you are in a sequence break, you know where the logic is going to take you.
Right.
it's not good to go too deep into a sequence break because then you forget, okay, where can this item be because I need it to get back in sequence, but I don't remember where the sequence break happened. So even though it's better off to not use an item until it's in sequence, you still want to know.
Yeah, it's so hard to like keep track of that kind of stuff too. So it's another like level of thinking that you don't really want to be like worrying about. Um, and to respond to chat, we do have all 3 items from Eastern Palace already. We got the Titan's Mitts, the sword, and the Moon Pearl. So there's only that crystal there left. So if you're able to hold off on doing that until you have the mirror and pod access as well, then that would be very beneficial. And I did forget about the purple chest too. Both of them actually opt in and go right to that purple chest to get that turn in. Probably to kind of get that done with Agina at the same time as well. So pretty good routing from both of them.
Our runners are pretty much synchronized up until now. They did different routes, but they've checked the same locations.
Right. I think Vin, the only thing he hasn't checked this yet are Death Mountain as well as that pendant turn in at Sahasrara, but not too many locations to be behind. Ooh, yeah, don't check to him. Or don't talk to him, just bring the chest right up to him. I'll turn it in. And gets the
It's the
flippers.
flippers. Okay, we can clear Zora's domain now.
Yeah, I'm sure they were probably thinking, let's go ahead and try out Desert Palace, or at least go ahead and get the Agna Cave item. But with those flippers, now that you have 4 items now, or 5 items actually now in logic from them, we're gonna head over to Lake Hyla, get those items, see if we can find that hammer or hook shot, and get up to Death Mountain.
As an unlikely decision, we could also dip Ice Palace.
We can, but we do have the fire rod. That is very true, and I really hope that's not what the logic wants, because you only
don't
have the
have hook
fighter sword. You don't have hook shot. You don't have a lot of health. That would be a very early Ice Palace. I wouldn't want to wish on anybody. Zheal does need to get a few more rupees though before he goes up to Zora. Just 14 shy of the 500 that you need. But Vin is definitely, far and ahead of that, so he'll have no issue, getting scammed by Zora, getting his 1 rupee back.
I'm sure Zheal isn't worried about finding an extra 14 rupees. They'll be somewhere.
It's also important to note that with the flippers too, we do get access to Palace of Darkness. Kind of a weird access, actually. You would go to Dark World from Link's house, jump into Lake Hyla, and have to swim up the river in order to get there. So you don't have the hammer yet, but you still have some unconventional route over there. And Zheal finding those 50 rupees, very convenient place to find them right before that Zora turn in. So I'm sure he's very happy to see that.
I'm not sure whether he's going to go for that 300 on Zora Ledge, but since it's right there, he might just go for it because he does still need pod money.
That's true. Hopefully he doesn't forget about that, because it could be kind of easy to forget that you do need to pay 110 rupees to get into pod. But let's see what our good friend Zora gives us.
50 rupees, a life lesson.
Good old return. 50 rupees. I believe that's that's 10% return on what we invested.
So this entire
into.
trip was worthless.
Still, it's a good location to knock out. I am sure if I was in their position, I would have also gone straight up to Zora as well, given just where I was at too. So, it's
So
gonna
the
be
only
now
locations they have now are Agina's Cave and Ice Palace.
and Palace of Darkness too. So we do have quite a few locations now. Not all locations you really want to go to at this point, though. But regardless, we have places we can go to, as every rando seed is completable. As difficult as it may be.
What's their Palace of Darkness access?
They have the flippers. They can jump into the river to
Right.
be able to get up to the other side of the bridge. Really unconventional, especially without the hammer, because you have to go all the way to Kakariko Village.
Right, the two bridges that you can jump off on the top and bottom in order to swim to Palace of Darkness. Should have remembered that because that was part of the quiz.
Yeah, this is very unconventional overworld movement, but it's still overworld movement that is within the logic, and it's important to remember these kind of things that when you don't get like the hammer early on, how to be able to get to other areas. The nice benefit of having those map trackers as well, because they do show you that you can get all the way over here, even if you
Oh,
don't
we forgot
necessarily
about
remember.
Catfish.
Right, and a great time to check it too if you're already up in this area. Vin actually opting to go up to Death Mountain first, but he did not check that earlier. So he's just going to go ahead and get that checkpoint as well, for whenever, it does have the items to get a little bit further on Death Mountain.
Just Red Mill. Well, this is looking to be an incredibly healthy seed. With how this seed is going, I wouldn't be surprised at a vanilla hammer.
All right, Zheal heading down to Palace of Darkness with that new red tunic on. Definitely makes the whole Ice Palace play a little bit more safer if it does come down to that. Hope it doesn't, but plus that sprite looks pretty cool with the red tunic too, so kind of gives
Still
him
no
that for
hook
having
shot,
good choice.
fighter's sword. Means that all the enemies on the first floor of Ice Palace are going to be quite a pain to deal with.
True. So hopefully that Palace of Darkness gives us something to work with, a master sword, a hook shot, anything to make their lives a little bit easier. Vin heading over to do his Sahasrahla turn in. So even though we saw them both grab the flippers at the same time, Zheal having those locations already out of the way, definitely paying off a little bit here as he's able to go over to Palace of Darkness, whereas Vin wanted to check these first locations before taking that very long overworld tour. In fact, he may actually head over to Agina's cave before, or no, he's going somewhere. Going back over to Lake Hyla. Maybe he didn't see the item that was on the island, while Zheal goes into Palace of Darkness, which we do have almost full access to. The only thing we're missing is that hammer to get to the Helmsword King, but it does have the rupees, does have that lamp. Fortunately, it does not have to go over to the right side just yet.
And we're seeing a divergence.
Right, here we go. Vin opting to go into Ice Palace. Does have a blue potion, but wow. Pretty scary play at this point, not having a lot of offensive power to get through here, but if he does find something here, that could be pretty big for him, because I wouldn't be wanting to go to Ice Palace at this point. Also, you need to note too that without the hook shot, There is that one kind of difficult bomb jump to do, which hopefully Vin knows how to accomplish, so that way he doesn't have to worry about coming back in here.
Making
But
some
in
good
trouble.
use of ether.
Ice mechanics, though. They just like to mess with your movement quite a lot. Ooh, and there's a Quake. And the Master Sword in the Palace of Darkness by Zheal. So, ooh, that Quake could be pretty big. Like I said, we don't know just yet what's on Turtle Rock or the Mire. So, that Quake being in Pendant Ice Palace, a pretty nice pickup for Vin. Zheal finishing up his right side pod. Hopefully he finds a mirror here so he can, or the hammer, so he doesn't have to get stuck here. But if he does, we may just see a death warp back to the beginning. So that way he can progress a little bit further into the dungeon.
Vin getting the quick kill on the Stalfos room.
Always a cool little method. Yeah, he's gonna be taking that death warp. But yeah, the double selfless kill, pretty cool to do. Very simple. I've been setting up for that Ice Palace bomb jump, which it depends. It could be a good or a bad choice. In this kind of situation, he may not have to full clear the Ice Palace. So we'll see very soon if he needed to do that bomb jump or not, because he does have the King of Samaria for that switch on the bottom next to Cold Sarah.
Either way, if either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock is that Quake medallion, then this dip into Ice Palace already paid off.
That is very correct. And if Zheal ends up finding a lot of progression in Palace of Darkness as well, then it may be a while before he thinks, hey, I should check out Ice Palace.
All he's found in there so far is the Master
Ooh.
Sword.
And we just got a hook shot pickup from Zheal. In the I forgot the official name for that Hellway, but still,
The harmless
there's our
Hellway.
harmless Hellway. That's what it's called. But that's our Eastern Death Mountain access. That's our Dark Death Mountain access. All we need at this point are either the mirror or the hammer to finish up that Death Mountain, which I'm pretty sure Zheal is going to be going over there right after finishing, what he can in the Palace of Darkness.
So is Vin full clearing Ice Palace?
It appears he is. He is heading over to the iced tea room. Zheal going to be picking up his last item in Palace of Darkness that he currently has access to. And it's a vanilla hammer.
Oh, I called that.
Okay, well, that what a good, I mean, not the best spot to find it, but that's nice because he's gonna be able to go ahead and clear out this dungeon. Gonna take that death warp to get back to the start, but yeah, that's a finished Palace of Darkness. So Vin gonna be looking to go over to Palace of Darkness after this if he wants to get a little bit further in this seed. Then heading over to those last few chests in the Ice Palace, see if he does find anything in here, though, that gives him a little bit more of an advantage over Zheal, because we still, like I said, we still don't know if that Quake is necessary at this point. Oh, he forgets. He doesn't have the hammer to get those items, but gets the boots. So we could have this Ice Palace dip be very much necessary. I have to get at least the boots for maybe a boots locked Desert Palace if there's any items there. But nice, that's going to be pretty good movement for him. He's going to head over right to that King's Tomb, take advantage of those new boots. And Zheal's going to head down into the final part of Palace of Darkness, almost over to Helmasaur King. Gonna take pretty quick advantage. Alright, gonna kill him pretty fast with using those silver arrows that he has.
An unexpected full clear of pod.
I definitely don't mind having a full clear pod. It's pretty quick, plus knowing that you're not able to finish pod without full clearing it, even if you are in go mode, is a pretty good feeling. Fortunately, Boot's not giving anything yet to Vin, getting the net in King's Tomb and just a piece of heart in the Bonk Rocks. So not too much there, other than just being able to cut down on that overworld travel. But if say Ice Palace ends up being required, Vin definitely has a great chance to make up a lot of kind of lost time with just that quicker movement. But yeah, like I said, Zheal finishing off that Helmasaur King very quickly with that single arrow hit to get that one-hit kill. All right, so then going over to his north side of the Dark World tour, gonna head over to Palace of Darkness next as well, while Zheal is like, hey, I got a hook shot, I got a hammer, we're going to Death Mountain. We're gonna get all these items here. We're gonna see what T-Rock is required for. We're gonna make some serious progress now on Zheal's side.
Probably clear Hera. I wouldn't doubt it if we saw that.
Yeah, I would fully expect them to do Hera now.
Hera
It is a
before
or
Eternal
Crystal. I mean,
They got to do Hera before a Dark Death Mountain check.
right. And having it be required as well means there's no disadvantage to going to Hera before going into Death Mountain, especially if you have all the items needed to check all the chests in Hera.
And Baby's first shield in Paradox Cave Top. Not something we really care to see, but it's there.
That's true. Definitely, maybe getting, a couple more shield upgrades. It could be a little bit of a benefit, but to your more experienced runners, shield is not going to help you get that Dead Rock out of the way of the entrance to the Death Mountain cave you need to be in.
Dead Rocks, the enemy we all love to hate.
Then take nice advantage of that the boots that he has to get a fairy out of that tree. And we cannot see.
Dead
what
Rocked
item it is.
again.
We can see the shadow, but we cannot see what item it is. And
Dead Rocked again.
So interesting. Zheal's actually gonna opt to go down into Spiral Cave before heading over to Zora. Sorry, Hera. So I wonder if maybe he's gonna hold off on doing Hera for a little bit. Maybe trying to find boots or hopefully kind of speed it up. Since if he wants to get back up to Hera at this point, he has to go through those caves he was already in.
It's a long, arduous walk, and it's Tempered Sword.
That is indeed a Temper Sword. That's gonna help quite a lot for this late game, especially when we get to Ganon, having both the Temper Sword and the Silvers make that a really fast fight.
Oh no, he's not doing Hera.
That's true. He may be banking on finding, maybe a book and a mirror here first, so he can check that ether tablet, at the same time. But I'm not entirely sure. Still, it's
Scam.
more items to find, and more items always a good thing for you.
It would seem that Zheal is indeed hoping for the mirror.
Not much yet, just finding some rupees in the Super Bunny Cave. I'm gonna head over to the Hookshot Cave as well to see if he checks Turtle Rock first. Yes, we're gonna see if that quake is necessary, and it is an ether. Ether on Turtle Rock required, so not out of the woods yet. We still have Mire around that we need to see what that item is. We got a book from Hookshot Cave, so there is our access right now to the Desert Palace, which is also a pendant, and not anything else from here just yet. Zheal gonna head over to the Spike Cave, and we'll see if he ends up coming back to do Hera with a save and quit. Maybe just wanted to get these other items out of the way, or actually no, he actually forgot. Wait a second,
He forgot he
I don't
doesn't
have a
have mirror.
Yeah, definitely looks like a little bit of a routing error on his end, since you do need the mirror to obviously get back into the light world. So he's gonna have to climb all the way back up to Hera, unfortunately. But
Derp.
he does you definitely want to go ahead and do that, just so that way if there isn't an item there, you're not missing out on it. Plus, it being a crystal means you're going to be up there at some point anyways.
Zheal losing a good few minutes on this.
And
Gives
definitely
Vin a little
time
bit of time to catch up.
Yeah, exactly. That is a very good thing for Vin because, like I said, with him having the boots, he's going to just be closing this gap, just quicker and quicker. And any kind of mistake he can hope his opponent to make, he's going to be hoping for it. So one nice thing, though, is that we got the book in the Hookshot Cave, so we would not have been able to check the ether tablet beforehand. And if there is something here, then it's just some bombs. So
There's
if there
not.
was an item there, that would have been nice. But unfortunately, they are just the bombs.
Well, we can hear Zheal rage clicking the Y button. X button. No wait, yeah, Y button. He's rage clicking it. You can hear those beeps from the book being used over and over and over again.
So Zheal getting a very nice beetle room, getting that slash off to hit both the switch and the beetle at the same time. Definitely, I would expect him to probably have some no major glitches experience, because that's definitely the main strat you use in the vanilla speedrun.
Vin finally picked up his hook shot from the Harmless Hellway.
Ooh, and we have here.
That is evil! Mirror and Hera, oh my god!
Definitely a good place to find it. gonna see the overworld be opened up quite a lot now. Also giving us access to Swamp Palace. So that may be something that is on Vince or on Zeal's mind next. Meanwhile, Vin's gonna pick up his hammer as well. Most likely head down to the basement of Pod with that quick Almasaur King kill. We do have an item in the basement for Hera, I believe. I think the only item we've found so far is that mirror. We do have that fire access too, so, or the fire source, I mean. Maybe we'll find something additionally down there to help them, such as the flute, which would be a very welcome thing to see at this point. Alright, so heading into the tile room, does have the sword beams available to him, so Zeal's going to be probably hitting that switch. Or not. It looks like he's just going to go ahead and hit them out of the way. I was about to say, hey, if you want to take a nice little bathroom break, get a nice soda, some popcorn, something like that for the rest of this race. This would have been the time for it. But Zeal's keeping it hot and exciting for us, killing off those tiles with those sword beams.
I think Zheal thinks it's too early to go for a bathroom break.
I know when I'm racing, that's the place I look for when I really gotta go to the bathroom. Put myself into that invulnerable status and then run away. But just that fire sword to match his red mail being found in the basement. All right, so now we have some options available to our runners. Zheal does have that Swamp Palace available for him, so like I said, finding those items steers him further and further away from Ice Palace, which we don't know that it is required as of yet until we see what the boots lead to and what Quake leads to. Alright, like I said, Helmasaur King going down very fast to that silver arrow, and Zheal heading straight into the Swamp Palace. Imagine we'll probably see him head over to the left side as well, given that he needs quite a few items for go mode at this point. Alright, Vin gonna head up to Hera as well. And closing that gap to Zheal using those boots. So still could be anyone's game at this point. An hour and 8 minutes in. And we still have a few dungeons left to finish. We need the flute for Meyer, the ice rod for Turtle Rock. At least to kill Trinex. And then always, we got the Eastern Palace that just needs to be done at some point. Probably a little bit later, just because there's no items left there. Alright, Zheal heading straight over to the backside of Swamp Palace first. Maybe hoping to find, something here with all these 4 chests back here instead of having to commit to that left side. Vin having a lot easier time right now getting through Death Mountain. Deadrock's not hurting him as much, and also going to Hera first before entering the Dark World, so doing a little bit better routing than Zheal did. But Zeal's still kind of in the lead that we can tell right now, showing off that execution from no major glitches, not gloves.
That mirror is going to make
In
routing
random-
a lot easier.
That is true as well. And just to recap, Vin did find both the boots and Quake in Pendant Ice Palace. So it's kind of we don't know just yet if either of those items are required to beat the seed. So it's really kind of a tough call to make as far as who is ahead at this point. Oh, Vin taking that unfortunate fall right there in Tower of Hera. Gonna hit the switch. Fortunately, remembers that it's just barely off screen there. So
Into
we
the
can
penalty
continue
box.
right. Meanwhile, Zheal finished off his Argus fight using the Fire Rod and Temper Sword strats. Let's see if he ends up heading back in to go to the left side, which he is. Not surprised. Didn't really find any items in the backside. So, you don't want to kind of gamble on there not being anything back there for him. Then finishing up his ascent up Hera. Gonna do that quick kill onto Moldor. Unfortunately, does not have the Temper Sword that Zheal had when he was in Hera, but still should be a pretty fast kill regardless. Been making good use of those hammer strats. Hammer doing the same damage as the Timber Sword. A little bit harder to set up, as you don't kind of have that safety of having your sword out and just being able to avoid being knocked into the pit. But still, clears it pretty fast, so doing a great job. And honestly, both our runners are doing a great job at this point, showing off just their own strengths. Zheal showing off that execution, then showing off some of these gambles that a lot of other people would not take. Definitely putting on a good show, for us runners. And then deciding not to go to the basement, which is, as we know, a good call, since there was nothing down there except the shield, I believe. And opting to just go ahead and head over to the rest of Death Mountain. So going to the left side of Swamp, gonna be able to pick up these 2 chests. He's hoping to find, boots or flute right here. kind of cut down on that overworld travel, but we know at least the boots will not be here. But we just get a piece of heart. All right, so now that we're finished with, the available crystal dungeons, with the exception at Eastern, which doesn't actually have any other items, looks like Zheal is actually going to head over to Ice Palace, surprisingly. Doesn't have a lot of items still. He does have the book if he wanted to go over to Desert, but maybe thinking that Ice Palace is a little bit more desirable play. Or maybe just the location of it is a little bit more convenient than walking all over to the Desert Palace. So he'll be finding his quake as well as his boots here, and this is going to give Vin a kind of a nice chance to catch up as well, as he's about to finish his Death Mountain item checks and most likely head over to the Swamp Palace as well. So at this point, as both runners are kind of getting a little bit more close to each other as far as their routing goes, I'm actually thinking that Zheal does have a bit of a lead over Vin at this point. Zheal would only have to be checking King's Tomb and the Bunk Rocks after this, whereas Vin has to go through the entirety of Swamp Palace as well. So definitely, I think we have a little bit of an advantage on Zeal's side. Definitely not significant enough, though, to kind of say who is going to win this race. But hour and 15 minutes, and we're kind of seeing finally just what the scene is, giving to us. Ooh, I like this by Vin. He's actually going to go straight over to a Spike Cave. He does have the bottles that are required. Or maybe he's just going to do the Ether Tablet right now. Forgot about that. But I think with the way he set up his portal, we'll probably head down over to Spike Cave afterwards, since he does have a blue potion to get through it. So then opting not to, but gonna head straight over to Swamp House. So yeah, we're seeing those same plays being made by both of our runners, just in kind of a little bit of a different order. So it'll be a while before we actually see, a new location being checked out. We don't know just yet. I don't think Zheal had checked the Bombos tablet though when he did his Swamp Palace. So maybe we'll see that from Vin after he completes Swamp Palace. So interesting enough, Zheal. I'm not sure what exactly he was doing right there in the other room. I was about to say, if he does not go back up, he won't get his boots. But maybe you just kind of have a temporary, I forgot. Oh wait, I was supposed to go up and continue to do the rest of Ice Palace first before heading down the Cold Stair. So he'll be finding his boots in the next room. And then it comes down to, does he stay in Ice Palace? Or does he go ahead and leave? Vin did not complete Ice Palace, so... Oh wait, no, sorry. The boots were in the other room next to the spike pit. So technically Zil has access to a little bit more items than Vin did because Vin did not have the hammer at the time. So if there's something in there, then that'll be a pretty significant lead for Zil. Been making his way through Salt Palace. We'll see if he ends up going straight to left side as well. Definitely getting the key in that big room makes going left side a little bit faster since you don't have to backtrack as much. But if you're making the gamble that, you know, there's more chests in the back of sewer or Swamp Palace that I can check, and maybe there's progression there, we may see that he just ends up skipping left side altogether, which it looks like he is going to go ahead and do that. Fortunately for Vin, no items on the chest that he missed. Maybe there was 3 items that perhaps I missed. Depends on the big key chest. So nothing there lost for Vin himself. Yep, those are all the items. So Zeel will be heading out of there, probably gonna check Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb, and then at that point, it will be at the same exact spot that Vin is in. Alright, Vin heading into his Argus fight. Pretty fast kill, just using obviously that temper sword and the hook shot to one-shot those little things that are on him. And then gonna opt to do those spin slash to get those 2 hits onto Argus. Clear him pretty fast. And no, we do not have a Bombos tablet check, which actually where I think Zeel may be going next. Or no, it looks like he's gonna go straight over to Desert. We may get that check from Vin, and it would be really kind of convenient to do that right after Swamp, going straight into Path. Wow, yeah, he's actually doing it, and we have both our runners literally in the same exact spot. Vin gonna check the Bombos tablet before heading into Desert, and Zeel gonna go straight over to Desert as well. So Vin opting to skip the left side of Swamp, which we know didn't have anything as well. So like I said, Vin making those gambles, kind of try to give him a lead, or, you know, in this kind of case, keep him up with Zeel. And Bombos not having anything there, unfortunately. And yeah, there we go. Vin's gonna head over to Agina and most likely get into Desert Palace as well, as there's not really a lot of locations left to check. And you know, if you're in the area, you don't have the flute, you might as well just be doing everything you can around you instead of playing it off for later. Agina's Cave just giving us a few bombs to add to their ever-growing collection. Zeel finding the small key on the torch. So we do know at this point that boots were required for Desert Palace, but fortunately both runners had opted to go into ice palace before making their way into a desert. So at this point, we are really looking just for a couple more items. We don't know what the Meyer Medallion is yet, unfortunately, but we do need the ice rod and the flute in order to get over, at least the flute to get over to Meyer and figure out what is required. And yeah, Zheal showing off the no major glitches, kind of muscle memory there, picking up the chest with the arrows that you normally would not do in Rando. Definitely, his execution has been pretty incredible so far. He's showing us that with the time that he has currently. Zheal showing off that quick kill in the Desert Palace on the Land Moles using the silver arrows to one-shot him. In that one cycle Land Moles that everyone is trying to hope for. Whereas Vin actually headed out of Desert. And I'm not entirely sure where he is. Obviously, he is going to the Dark World at this point. But kind of an interesting decision to skip Desert. Although it is just a pendant, just kind of gambling on items not being the items not being on them on Lamels. And pedestal has not been checked at this point, so we don't know just yet, you know, if this is a pedestal required seed. It could be a pedestal required seed if the flute is on a pedestal. Entirely possible, along with the ice rod. So your pet dreams are not dead yet, chat. You may get your wish finally. Then going right into the graveyard ledge, kind of knocking out these other locations that have not been seen just yet, but are available to him. But just finding a red rupee. But we have Zheal. Zheal is heading over to the Lost Woods, gonna be checking that pedestal, figure out what his next course of action is after going into here. So here's that moment of truth. Are we gonna see that ice rod or the flute? Can you dig it? That is a
fetch quest.
shovel. All right. Well, that's definitely not what they want to see, because that still doesn't tell them that if they need to go clear out Ice Palace and I guess, well, there you got Desert out of the way, but still, that's ooh, if that's a vanilla flute along with that vanilla hammer, that's not going to be fun. Still doing his hammer pegs. I believe we already saw this from Vin. It was just some rupees. Yeah, or no, sorry, arrow upgrade. We're getting that bad batter check. I don't think we saw that though. Yeah, we definitely didn't see that earlier. Just giving us that heart container. But still, there is no flute anywhere. Oh, speaking about the flute, we do get the flute on the south of Grove Cave. So as of right now, one less item we have to think about for Go mode and getting a little bit further from that pedestal required seed. So Zheal is going to head straight over to activate that flute, going to head straight into the mire area afterwards. Whereas Vin is going to go up to Turtle Rock, having both the Pina Samaria and the Fire Rod too. So kind of gonna hope that we have an ice rod in there and not in mire. All right, so we get to see now what is that medallion? Or is it gonna be that final missing bombos that's required to get into mire, or is that 66% chance gonna actually play off? And is it gonna be ether? We have an ether to get into the mire, meaning we are just one item possibly away from go mode. Zheal finding the cape in the mire shed, which does not lead to anything as we've already seen that cape ledge, but still that ice rod is currently eluding us. Right, Zheal checking the checkerboard cave, only finding that 5 arrow capacity upgrade, whereas Vin getting the big key and the first chest of Turtle Rock. Pretty nice for if you want to go mode this dungeon, but at this point he won't be doing that as he is missing 2 items currently. And we have not had a spike cave check yet, but I believe it was in logic given that we have the bottles as well. I can't seem to remember the exact logic if it's half magic plus cape or Burna, or if having the bottles for a potion
The
make
logic
spike
doesn't
cave
change for
accessible.
OHKO mode. That means that you have to be able to do something without taking any damage whatsoever in the regular randomizer.
Okay, well there you go. Spike cave is accessible by the logic now. But before we even get to Spike Cave, we do have a good amount of dungeons to, a good amount of locations to even to check before thinking about that. Especially with how many items we have available in Turtle Rock, and that everything will be accessible as well. Oh, Zheal finding that bombos there. Fortunately, not going to really need it for anything though, because he already knows that Turtle Rock is ether. So, kind of a late find there. Vin's got to be a little bit careful. Those chain chomps, very strong enemies from a very different game series as well. Like to take you out as you try to move that switch over. So it looks like Zheal is opting to skip that torch room with that very lengthy cutscene, getting the big key already, and he's going to go over to the big key chest and the final chest. Kind of similar to the whole, like, whether or not you want to skip the left side swamp. But in this case, there's only one item there, and it takes quite a long time to get, to it. But Meyer only has 2 items, so usually the odds are in your favor that that chest does not have anything. It looks like Zeal's gonna go ahead and probably just check it, just to be on the safe side, as we have not even found the ice rod in Turtle Rock on Vin's side just yet. I believe that makes 2 items as well, the bombos and the 50 rupees, so he won't have to worry about that cutscene. He can just go straight over to Vitreous. But that still begs the question, where is that ice rod at? We have not seen it in Turtle Rock yet. We still have Laser Bridge to go through. So if it ends up being in a kind of a weird location, then that would definitely shake up kind of how our runners want to route this next part of the seed. Zheal definitely, I would say, has a bit of a lead right now, going to Meyer before Vin, and also having the flute as well. But like I said, still anyone's game to win at this point, depending on where that final go mode item ends up being. All right, Zheal heading off into the Vitreous fight. Gonna be a very, very, very fast fight. Silver arrows taking out all the eyeballs in one hit, and even if he didn't have that, having the Temper Sword to take out the eyeballs as well makes for a very fast fight. But yeah, you can see just the work that those silver arrows are doing to Vitreous, making kind of a difficult fight into a very simple one, and being rewarded with a small key for his efforts, which will unfortunately not be put to any use at all. So I would imagine at this point, Zheal probably going to head over to Eastern Palace. So that way, if you're banking on Ice Rod oh, did we see the Ice Rod on the big chest? I must have had just like this stream skip or something when that happened. Okay, well, there you go. This is actually a lot in favor for Zheal, since he will not have to go out of his way too much to see if he can find that ice rod before heading up to Turtle Rock. Looks like he's going to check the Pyramid Fairy just real fast, just to knock that out of the way. 2 quick items. And after that, probably we'll head over to Eastern Palace, and then from there, up to Turtle Rock. Vin gotta be a little bit careful falling into those pits. I believe he still does have a single fairy. Yes, there it is. It does have 2 blue potions to get through Trinex with relative ease. That is very true, Siberian. I really hope both runners, do remember that Eastern Palace was a crystal. We were in that dungeon at the very start of the seed, so it could be kind of easy to forget that, it is required to go back in there. And that would not be a pleasant, feeling to have, going all the way to Ganon's Tower and just not having it open up for you.
Well, there is no progression in there, so I'm sure they're just saving it for last to see, okay, where's progression? I don't want to lose track of the logic. Because I'm pretty sure they know they didn't finish Eastern.
Yeah, it looks like Zeal's gonna. If he was opting to go to Turtle Rock right now, probably would have saved and quit. But yeah, there's that flute over to 5. Gonna knock out that dungeon extremely fast. Being able to essentially go mode it. I've been unfortunately missing a couple shots on the ice head at Trinex. Trinex's head was like, yo, I see you trying to do damage to me. I'm just gonna keep dashing into you or just extending my head at you so you can't hit me. But having those blue potions definitely really helps quite a lot. All right, Zeal heading into Eastern Palace. Vin needs to find his flute cell, which is at the south of the Grove cave. Let's see if he does end up going there, because it's kind of a weird location to go to when you've already done all the other checks in that area. And there he goes, Zeal clearing out Eastern Palace. Once again, using those silver arrows to quickly take out the Armless Knights. And Vin finds his flute too, so he'll be heading up to Kakariko, getting that swag duck activated, and headed over to Meyer as well. So we do have Vin in go mode, but still kind of a little bit farther behind Zeal, as Zeal just has Turtle Rock left, which you'll find his Ice Rod in, but then having to go through both Eastern Palace and Meyer. But fortunately, Vin will be able to do Meyer in go mode as well, which is a significantly faster than having to do Turtle Rock in go mode. Alright, can't hear it, but Vin enjoying the chicken theme, swag duck theme on his end. And yeah, there you go. Fluting straight over to 7. Or sorry, the Meyer area. Gonna head in there. I don't expect him to actually even check the shed. Yeah, there you go. Go straight into Meyer. You don't need any more items. You got your Temper Sword and your silvers for Ganon. You are golden. And we're having the synced up ethers on both Turtle Rock and Meyer. So now, this is going to be a pretty close race. Like I said, Vin has the advantage of being able to go mode Meyer, whereas Zeal still has to be thinking about, hey, where is that Ice Rod going to be, when we already know it's in the big chest. But Zeal does also have the advantage of not needing to climb up Death Mountain a second time. So definitely pretty close race still. Could see some interesting gambles in Ganon's tower, especially ones that Vin's been doing thus far, that could bring this, back a little bit quicker. All right, see, there you go. Vin picking up his big key. Gonna get the key from the next room and probably just head straight over to Vitreous. So like I said, go mode Meyer extremely fast, and it's gonna help out Vin so much here. Zheal heading to his chain chop room. Hopefully he has a little bit easier time than Vin did. Getting that invulnerability off stepping off the switch. Definitely very nice for being able to run through those chain chomps. Like I said, Zheal showing off that vanilla speed run experience here in this dungeon, as is pretty much exactly the same in Rando. Like usually because you have so many items that you would have in No Major Glitches. All right, Vin heading into his Vitreous fight. Also going to make quick work of it using those silver arrows. Like I said, one hit per eye, then the double on Vitreous, giving him his second to last crystal, while Zheal heads in, I would say about halfway through Turtle Rock now. I'm going to pick up his nice rod and then be able to pretty much go mode the rest of the dungeon, which is not very different than your normal clear. But first gonna check that Mimic Cave, not knowing that the next chest he would have found is the one that he's looking for. Alright, then heading over to Eastern. Yes, there you go. No, so both of our runners not forgetting Eastern Palace, fortunately. And this will be another fast kill. And like I said, both runners are going to be extremely close. I would say Zheal does have a little bit more of an advantage at this point, given that he's not going to have to climb Ganon's tower a second time, but it's going to be a very close race at the end of it. Zheal making his way through the Firebar Dark Room, while Vin heads just deeper into Eastern Palace, almost over to Armos. Both runners just, at this point, just thinking, gotta go as fast as I can. This is when my execution really pays off. Not having to worry about items, just beating the game as fast as I possibly can. Zheal doing some quick turnarounds there to block the lasers. Fortunately, does get a hit with the beetle there as well, but being a little bit flashy as well. Almost gets the laser skip there. and then takes a fall just to warp him back to the start of the room to be able to go to the next part. Then just about to enter his Armos fight as well. So I expect that we'll see the Armos knights go down before we see Trinex dead. So we'll see when we get to start guessing about you know what. Fortunately, it doesn't get the double kill right there on the mimics. I'm sorry, the Igors. Zheal getting that nice quick kill. Phase 1 on Trinex, going behind him with the boots, while Vin finishes his Armo Knights and gets his final crystal. Zheal following up very quickly with that as well. So both the runners finding their final crystal, going to be heading over to Ganon's tower. So at this point, you all know what time it is. We like to have a fun little guessing game about, where is that Ganon's tower key going to be? Isn't tracked on these channels, but still fun to do. I'll throw in my guess for 16. Hope that it ends up not being tower room.
Gotta say 1.
Oh, that would be nice for both of them.
16 is most likely not gonna be tile room, is it?
Yeah, that's always the last location that people check.
Tile room we typically see as either 18, 22, 1. Yeah, that's it.
All right,
Sorry,
so
or
Zheal
3.
entering Turok.
Tile room's never 1. It's always 3 if it's early.
You see a 151.30 entry into Ganon's tower from Zheal. Don't have a timer on Vin's end, unfortunately, so we'll have to keep an eye on Zeal's timer to kind of get an idea of how close they are together. So first 2 chests, nothing. And Zheal opting to go to the right side first, getting a small key. So if it ends up not being on the right side and Vin goes straight to the left, let's see this lead go back to Vin's side.
It seems like Zheal thinks they're behind, and that's why they're going to right side.
That's true.
That's
we're
usually
seeing that
how I
entry.
metagame. If I think I'm behind, I would do right side.
So like a 35 entry from Vin's end. So just about a minute apart, but Zheal not finding anything on the right side. So Vin checks these 2 items and goes right to the left. Yeah, there we go. He is going to the left side. Our runners are right next to each other, less than 5 seconds apart. Oh my god, we got a race. These are the kind of races I like because you see kind of a lot of matches in the first couple rounds.
This may come down to photo finish.
Yeah, this is a race that's going to come down to how well they do. Ganon, it's going to be seconds apart. As we see the Ganon Tower Big Key in the room, that 4 room with the Stalfos. I got so excited about how close they were that I just completely stopped counting. So congrats if you ended up counting correctly. A winner is you.
8.
Was it 8? Okay.
Wait, which room? Which chest was it in that room? Was it the first chest they opened?
Yes.
8.
So this is where that no major glitches experience is going to pay off immensely for Zheal, as this whole section is going to be exactly what you do in the speed run. Vin having a little bit more trouble, losing a little bit more time. So I think Zill's gonna have a pretty, or at least a much better time going through here. Gonna head over to the ferries just to be a little bit safe though. And if Zheal does skip, if Vin skips that too. Oh, see, Vin is just like, I want this race. I'm not taking any safeties. And I'm gonna just try to keep up as much as I can. Well, obviously, he doesn't know where Zheal is at, but you want to be thinking that you're behind in Ganon's tower, so that way you're pushing yourself as much as you can.
So since we're in this situation, let's go over what constitutes a draw in this tournament.
I believe it's 2 seconds apart. Is considered a tie, which will be dependent on, how quickly they finish on Speed Racing TV race that we
It's
have
3
set up.
seconds. 3 seconds considered a tie.
So could definitely see at 3 seconds.
I hope we don't have to see that 3 seconds, because then both of these runners have to race each other again.
Zheal having a little bit of trouble with Lamos. I believe Vin also missing that second one due to the fireballs, just kind of messing with you a lot. He's just not having a good time with this. Missing these silver arrow shots, and Zheal is just taking advantage of that and just pushing through so fast on this last part of the Ganon's Tower ascent.
Zheal is slowly but surely pulling away. Now, all this is one Ganon fall.
True, one Ganon
Or
fall, even a
one
Troll
Troll
Dorm.
Dorm. One Troll Dorm, and the race is even.
For Zheal, though, so that it could equally just happen to Vin as well, putting him behind. So Zheal has every opportunity to win this race right now. He just needs to make sure that he does not make any simple mistakes that causes him to lose a lot of time. I don't think he'll get that Troll Dorm fall. Yeah, there it is. 2 quick ones from the tempered. Oh, then gotta be careful. Okay. Got hit there, unfortunately. Could have thrown off the timing to get up there before that despawn of all the sprites in Ganon's Tower. But Zheal gonna head into his Aghanim 2 fight as Vin just about to head into his Moldorm fight. So we got one hit for the first phase. 2 and 3. 1 and 3. So we're just looking at 2 more. 1, 3, 1. Probably gonna get 1 more here. There it is.
Down goes Aga too, and oh, Vin taking a
Vin
Troll
taking-
Dorm.
Oh, and his
no!
game just crashed! What? Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, this is
At the
painful.
very end of the Ganon's Tower sent in the Moldorm. Oh no. Zheal heading into his final part. Going to the Ganon fight with that Temper Sword. Gets the really nice positioning for that second phase. Able to do those spin slashes without having to move whatsoever.
Well, Vin just shut down their stream, but they haven't officially forfeited.
Yeah, so it looks like even though Zheal not finished just yet, this will be a win for him. But still, great showing from both of our runners for a very kind of odd seed as far as how the movement worked. And then we see the forfeit from Vin, unfortunately. But I believe we still probably would have had that win from Zheal, given the amount of time he was ahead, as well
Oh no, he had a Ganon fall.
Oh no, he just fell to Ganon!
No. Now I feel bad that Vin crashed because he could have won.
Oh no. Wow, that could have been if that crash had happened on Vin's side, yeah, definitely. Oh, that's unfortunate to think about. And there's no guarantee. Like, I'm sure Vin probably didn't save and quit for quite a long time too. So, and we're not just talking about having to climb Ganon's tower again, but rather to probably Mire and Eastern Palace as well. So fortunate it did happen. That was a very close race for the majority of it. We were synced up at quite a few moments inside Ganon's tower as well. Definitely would have been one of the closest races that we've seen so far in this tournament. Meanwhile, Zheal just giving the runaround by Ganon, who doesn't want to stay still. He just wants to keep moving. He's like, hey, you had your chance to kill me. You fell down. Now I'm going to make this as hard as I can for you. Zheal gonna get those final couple of arrows in. Looks like I think he's just one away from that Ganon kill, and there it is. Zheal finishing off his Ganon fight and this seed with an official speed racing TV time of 2 hours, 2 minutes and 57 seconds. Congrats, Zheal, for being able to take an extremely close race. So we'll see if he wants to come in here, kind of talk about that seed a little bit. Then, if you are around to, you are more than welcome to also come in and give us your thoughts. But with that, that does mean that Zheal will be heading into the next part of the tournament with a 2-0 record. Next couple weeks is when the matches really begin to start heating up, as these skilled runners are forced more and more into races against each other. Meanwhile, Vin will be heading into the next round with 1-1. Still a pretty scary pool to be in as well. So, great match by both of our runners. Fortunate having that crash happening, but still great race until the very end. And it looks like we're joined by Vin. I'm so sorry for what happened. You have no idea.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear us? Are you able to hear us, Ben? Alright, looks like he's gonna be fixing his Discord. Possibly gonna get Zheal in here as well.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear us? We do have Ben here, but I don't think he can hear us through Discord. But we can hear him. Zheal will be coming in as well too. But while we wait for these issues to resolve themselves, definitely don't forget to check out all our speed gaming and ALTTP randomizer channels. That's a mouthful. I'm sure if you guys are here, you already are aware of them, but plenty of lots of rando actually happening today. We had a ton of matches just kind of spring up all at the last second, including, I believe, this one. So if you want to see even more good races, there's plenty of them going on as well. Vin's just fixing up his. Where is Zheal? Alright, we're just waiting on Zheal to join too. But while we're waiting, shout outs to Merc for doing the tracking for us, helping us out a bit when a couple items were missed. So definitely grateful for that, as well as to my co-commentator, Yanni Man. And we do have Zheal. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Welcome, Zheal, and congrats.
Thanks. It was not the win I expected, but it was a win.
It was a win indeed, and that was an
Correct,
extremely close race. You have no idea.
The
just
crash was
how-
unfortunate, of course, from him. So it was my fault,
Like-
of course.
Right. We think it could have actually ended up in a tie if he was able to finish the race, because he was just barely behind you. You entered Ganon's tower about a minute apart, but
Oh,
he
okay.
opted to go left side.
Oh, I see.
Instead of doing that full right, so you were all like both neck and neck throughout the entirety of Ganon's tower.
Yeah, I did
but-
the boot batch quest.
Right. So how do you feel about that seed?
It was weird. I mean, I felt really good when I found the boots, but when I entered desert and saw like there's nothing, I knew. I thought like I go check pedestal, and if there's nothing, I lost so much time with doing that, and it was exactly that. I entered Desert Palace. I didn't need boots at all. I mean, it was even a pendant. I expected
Mhm.
something to like. I found the mirror, and I thought like, okay, let's follow the items. Let's go swamp. After swamp, I thought like, okay, it's Ice Palace. It's at least a dungeon. I found Quake. I thought like, okay, Quake maybe needed. for Misery Maya. Let's look a bit further. Then I wanted to kill the boss, but I realized I had no magic. So I thought like, okay, let's check
Oh,
right.
no.
Let's check right side Ice Palace. I found boots. I was happy. Then I thought like, okay, if the game gives me boots there, I probably need boots, hopefully. So I checked all the boots locations, and in the end, like Bon Cave and King's Tomb, I went Desert Palace, and nothing needed boots. And I thought like, okay, it's very unlikely that Ganon's Tower needs boots, so I'm probably into problems. I'm gonna check pedestal, because if it's pedestal, I probably needed boots, maybe. But there was just a shovel, and I was like, oh no, but please no shovel.
Yeah,
Um,
it sounds like your thoughts are kind of mirroring ours as well. When we saw that shovel on pedestal, we're like, oh no, we have not seen the flute or the ice rod just yet. Please, please don't
Yeah.
let that be leading to them.
And at the end, when I found the flute, I thought, if he found the flute, like you could have found the flute really early. Like the mirror was in Hera. For Hera, you needed the hammer. Yeah, after you found the hammer, what was the hammer again? Oh yeah, it was Vanilla
Vanilla.
Hammer. Yeah,
How about that?
It was actually a really cool seed. It was super straightforward. I liked
Just me.
the flippers. I thought I actually after Skullwoods, I thought I could do that minor glitch with walking over the water and go right side. Dark World.
Mm-hmm.
I should have done that. I could have found the hammer and do all the frog and then purple chest and with the mirror, and then Hera, and then do all the Southern Dark World together with the mirror, with the hammer, and could have done all that and found the flute immediately. But of course, no. It was at the point when I found the flute, it was one of the furthest points away I could actually look for an item.
Yeah, that was
I
a
ended
really
up with a
inconvenient
map
location.
where the locations were really spread off. That was super unfortunate. And I
believe we-
was at a point where I just could work my way through the locations and then see which one is it.
I believe we do
GG,
have
Zheal.
Finn here as well.
Thanks, man.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah,
Sorry for your
GG.
crash, dude.
And yeah,
That's
we're
unfortunate.
so sorry for you because that was an extremely close race. All
I heard he would have
throughout.
won because I fell down Ganon.
I
I
saw
think-
at the end. I went into the
Okay.
thing. I just forfeited at the end because I would have had to do Maya over and Eastern over. There was no way.
Yeah, my Ganon fall was clearly a lack of experience because I hit him. I was about to hit him, and I thought like, oh wait, when I hit him from the left side, I can get 3 arrow shots in. And I went to the left. I went around Ganon to the left side, hit him. That bumped me back right into the fire bed, and I fell down. It was just I was undecided for a moment, and that delayed the whole action there. But yeah, it was a nice race. It was a very, very weird seed, really.
Yeah, did you?
It
I
was-
went into before you went to pod. I went into ice first.
Oh, you went ice first? No, I went ice after.
Yeah,
Fawn.
Vin went to ice very early. So like you were talking about the whole Quake and Boots leading to something. Like half the race, we were thinking like, oh no, what if Quake is on Mire? Well, is Boots gonna lead to something in Desert? We were like constantly be asking those questions.
Yeah, I thought the same. In the end, it was
Um,
either both, of course.
Right, of course, Ether for both. And Boots
And I
not
I thought
even
it was so
actually
misleading
leading
with
anything,
Quake and Boots. It was so unfortunate.
And the only overall location I skip in the entire game is K45, and that's where Flute is.
It was such a weird location.
Yeah, I
Like
had
you
it
said,
all-
you
it
didn't
was
have
my
the
last
mirror.
item. Aside Ice Rod.
And it's
Right.
my fault, and I'm stupid too because I should have just did the book, and then I should have just went to K45, did hand pegs, and then did the graveyard ledge. I should never have went to desert, and then something in my mind, it's my brother's fault, because every single time I play with him, he's like, you gotta check Agina, you gotta check Agina. And I'm in the head, I'm like, oh my god, if something's in Agina, I'm playing an hour 40 minutes in, and something's there, I'm never gonna hear the end of it.
Yeah, I guess it was a almost 100% seed for both of us. I mean, the only boss I
Yeah.
didn't kill was Cold Stare. Everything else is down.
Agreed. Yeah, and plus just like how you had to go like around the world was just kind of awkward in itself too. So
Yeah, everything was
Um,
basically flippers locked. That was also super weird. You had to you had to take the dwarf, reset. You had to take the chest, reset, and find the flippers. It was so weird.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen too often.
Yeah.
And
then
then
you
of
had to go
course,
east side and then found the vanilla hammer. Vanilla hammer is
and
also
of course,
something I never had.
part was loaded.
Yeah.
Vanilla hammer.
And after the hammer, it was actually a super easy seed. After the hammer, that was like I had the hammer. I don't know, 15 minutes in, not even. And after that, I missed. What did I miss? Flute and ice rod, and the rest was just looking everything for flute and ice rod, and I did not find it.
Same here. I think
Mhm.
so you were like what 1 or 2 crystals in, like an hour and something in, and then basically we did the rest of the game in like 40 minutes.
Yeah, right. I should have gone to the cave immediately, but I already went through Southern Dark World and then did Stumpy and Hype Cave. And usually I don't like to go back to where I already was. And looking for that one single cave down there south of Haunted Grove. That's super unfortunate that the flute was there. Of course.
Did you check pedestal?
Yeah.
there's a
Well,
shovel.
Couch. I was gonna say I thought it was. I almost checked it. I'm like, you know, it's just gonna be couch cash.
Yeah, I found the boots super late. It was like I was ice polished pretty late. And I found the boots there and I thought like, okay, something has to be behind boots, please. And I checked all the boots locations, including Desert Palace. And it was nothing. And so I thought like, okay, let's check pedestal, and if it's not pedestal because pendant, because I went desert and ice palace and everything, then I lost so
I
much time
also
doing all that.
right after I did ice, I checked all the boots locations, looking for hammer and stuff. But after I did all the boots locations, I realized I'm like, I didn't have a safe like a cape or hook shot to get over the spikes. So technically, hammer could not have been behind boots.
Yeah. I guess.
Well, still, definitely a great race between the two of you. It was one of the most exciting races I've actually seen and been able to commentate
It was
thus
fun.
far
It
in
was
this
a good scene.
tournament.
It's pretty
This
complicated.
was one of the
and
closest
thanks for the
races
racing.
I've ever seen.
And yeah, I mean, like given kind of early on in the tournament, you see a kind of a mismatch in skill, but this race was anything but. Both of you kind of took different routes, which put you still, like I said, a minute apart when entering Ganon's tower. So it was, despite the different routing decisions, it all kind of came together at the end. It was just unfortunate that crash did happen, but at least I know, for next week going into your match, Vin, you should be probably going into it pretty strongly, and I have no doubt you'll be able to take down a win next week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for racing, dude.
With that,
Sorry for the crash.
And
Definitely.
GG Zheal, thank you everybody who commentated, everybody like did the tracking and then the restream. It was actually my first time ever being on a race like this on the restream, so it's kind of a little exciting.
well, cool. Well, hopefully we get to see you on more restreams. I really hope so.
Hopefully
Well-
you guys commentate next week.
We're cranking out as many restreams as we can, so we'll try.
That is definitely true. Well, that is it from me. So once again, congrats to Zheal for getting that win. Thank you to Merc for doing the tracking throughout this, as well as the lane for restreaming, and then lastly, but not least, Yanmin for doing the commentary with me. So thank you all.
Glad to be here.
Thank you guys. See you guys later.
Good game, both of you.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Like I said, plenty of rando going on right now. Be sure to check out some of these other channels. But in the meantime, we will see you all later and hope you all have a wonderful weekend.